Everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be testing out Armor Shield Lite from AvalonKing. Now, in full transparency, I have bought most of the line of the AvalonKing stuff, but in this instance, Dale from AvalonKing reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to test out our Armor Shield Lite in one of your videos? And since I hadn't used it, I said, yeah, why not? So he went ahead and he sent me a bottle of this to test out. So full transparency, I'm not being paid for the video. However, Dale at AvalonKing did supply the Armor Shield Lite to me at no charge to test out. Now, the instructions on this are pretty clear, okay? You need to make sure that your paint is clean, and then you can spray it on. It literally says spray on wet or dry. You can spray it on the surface, spray it on a towel, wipe it in, and then just like let it dry, and it's 3 to 6 months protection. So what we're gonna do today is test it a couple different ways after I prepare the surface. All right, what I'm going to do is basically use this on a wet surface as maybe like a drying aid, and then I'm also going to spray it on dry, maybe on like half the hood or something, and so that we can see if there's a difference in hydrophobics when we go back with our water test, probably tomorrow morning or something. So anyway, that's the Armor Shield Lite, guys. And oh, you know what? This is also brought to you by, in fact, the next part here is brought to you by Joey Belinsky. Here you go, let me show you why. All right, guys, so again, we are testing out the AvalonKing Armor Shield Lite. Now, to do the prep work, okay, we are going to do a rinseless wash with the DIY Detail Rinseless Wash V2. All right, just 1 to 256, using their sponge, an auto fiber grit guard in the bucket that I got from Jack's Wax. Just shout out to everybody there, okay? For the panel prep, because I want to make sure that the surface is clean, that we try, because if there's contamination, then we really can't, I guess, get a good indication of how well this stuff works. So we're going to use Ethos Detox for that. And on the, I noticed that we have some, all right, some little, let me show you right there. We have some tar spots that actually, oh, they're sticky. Anyway, we have some spots, so I'm gonna spray some BDE on here, wipe away the tar, because it works really good at dissolving some of this lighter stuff. So from Detail Company, okay, we're gonna do the BDE there. And then for our dry off, we have some, the Rag Company towels, a liquidator, and the Gauntlet towel. And then the instructions, this is really cool because the instructions for this, you can spray on wet, dry, use whatever towel you want. You can spray it on the towel, spray it on the panel, but it does say that you have to enjoy the beverage of your choice, so we even have one of those. So anyway, guys, that is our process, and I did notice that on this, there does seem to be a little bit of hydrophobic properties. Sorry about that color, it's actually white. But we do have some hydrophobic properties going on this. It actually just sheets off. It kind of feels pretty smooth. And so I think I may have actually tested a different product on here that has not worn off yet. So we may wind up having to grab a polisher and do a quick like once over on the hood or whatever it is, so that we can get a true like flat surface that has no hydrophobic effect. So let's get going. All right, guys, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna hit this stuff with the BDE. So we're just gonna use it at full strength. I might be able to dilute it, but you never know. So, and the reason why I'm doing this is because when we go over this with the clay sponge, in fact, that's one other thing I forgot, is in the bucket here, we're going to just be using a clay scrubber from the Rag Company. They call it like the Ultra Clay Scrubber. This thing's great. So anyway, you don't want to use your clay on top of or go over like tar spots. And that BDE is like breaking that stuff down, sort of. Oh, that's like a rock. Oh, there we go. Okay. So anyway, we're going to let, oh yeah, you could see that. Breaking down, you can see the streaks of brown coming down now from the stuff. So anyway, I'm going to clean this up with a just a basic towel, Costco towel. And once I get all the tar removed from here, then we'll go down to the rinseless stage and rinseless wash this thing. All right, guys, I used a BD on the side, removed it all. I used a towel, I just wiped it off, and then I kind of sprayed it off as much as I could with the pressure washer. So I'm gonna go in right now. All right, and we're just gonna give it a quick rinseless to try and clean off whatever we can. And I just really want to make sure that all that BDE is gone off of here. Okay, guys, so I have now cleaned with the BDE. All right, I kind of sprayed it off with the water. I've gone in now with the rinseless wash, so I know that this surface is clean. So now I'm going to go in, actually going to use some Stoner. They call it iron remover and wheel cleaner, but it is safe to use on paint because most wheels nowadays are actually painted, they're clear coated. And we're going to use it with the Ultra Clay from the Rag Company. So let's get this thing sprayed. And I want to see how much iron is on here, so I'm actually spraying. Normally I would just spray it onto the scrubber. All right, this stuff will make you cough. Just FYI. Well, it would figure that I don't see any iron. It's supposed to turn orange. Yeah, it says turns iron orange. And all I see is the product. So, our paint, I must have clayed this at some point recently. I take care of a whole group of these things, so I just grabbed one today. It's not turning orange, but let's just make sure. All right. Yeah, in fact, I must have done this recently because I don't feel any contamination coming off. This is already nice and smooth. Okay, so now we've done our iron remover step. Now I'm gonna hit it with the pressure washer. I'm gonna rinse all this off and, well, we'll see what else we do here. Okay, guys, so I did a complete decon on the hood here. Rinseless washed, came back with the iron remover, and what I found when I rinsed was that there was still a little bit of hydrophobic properties on here from a previous product that I was testing. And so this thing, I'm really not too worried. I mean, it's white, you can hardly see the scratches, but what we're gonna be doing, I'm gonna hit this with our polisher and just some rehab correction cream. I'm just gonna do a quick, like 2 passes. I'm not looking to correct anything. I mean, like I said, this thing goes through the car wash all the time. At least, actually, I'm not sure I said that, but this thing goes through the car wash like at least once a week through the tunnel wash with the brushes. So I'm not looking at taking off a ton. I'm just looking at getting rid of whatever protection is on there so we could start with a bare surface. So anyway, let's get to it. All right, guys, polishing stage done. Now we're just gonna hit this with the panel prep spray. And I'm really doing this to, to make sure that there's no polish residue left on the surface. Okay, guys, I just wanna bring you in really quick. I just wanna show you the water behavior. All right, so hopefully you can see this. The water's just kind of sitting there. Actually, maybe you can't. All right, there you go. So the water's just kind of flat. I mean, it is sheeting off because it's clean paint. Okay, but there is no more. I polished everything off. there's no more protection on here. And even if there was a coating, it's gonna be completely abraded. So let's get to the application now and let's get going. Okay guys, so it's been quite a process, but what we're gonna do is go in with the Armor Shield Lite now. So what I'm gonna do is spray half the hood, like pretending like I just rinsed it off, okay? And I'm gonna use it as a drying aid with the towel here, the gauntlet from the rag company. And then on the other half of the hood, what I'm gonna do is just apply it to the towel and spray it on. And just wipe it on, wipe it in, and let it dry. And then tomorrow, hopefully we're gonna let this dry overnight. Tomorrow then I can spray it with some water and we can show you the actual hydrophobics and see if there's a difference, maybe if there's a difference between using it as a drying aid and putting it on. And then going forward, what I could do is, it's gonna go through a tunnel wash, but I wanna see if we can get this thing to last maybe 3 or 4 tunnel washes, especially on this side. Even 3 or 4, like a month. If I could get a month out of this going through just tunnel washes, I think we're doing really good, because tunnel washes abrade the heck out of this stuff. You know, you've seen the swirls of scratches. So anyway, let's get started with the testing. Okay, so we're gonna use this as a drying aid on this half of the hood. You're gonna always shake your bottles, okay guys? Oh, you know what? I already see some, it's really changing the behavior of the water as soon as I hit this. And it smells pretty good too. Oh, and it's very, the towel slides. Towel glides across the surface really, really nice too. So using this as a drying aid, I'm digging it. Oh, and it leaves a very nice slick surface too. You know what, let's test this really quick. Let's check the water behavior. We're not gonna let it cure or anything. Let's just check the water behavior really quick. Okay guys, here, I'm gonna bring you in. All right, oh God, I don't know if you could see this. I hope you can. We have some excellent water behavior. Look at that. One application as a drying aid. All right, so I'm impressed right now. You could, like, nice water beads. So I'm gonna hit this one more time as a drying aid, and then we'll test it dry over on that side of the car over there. All right guys, so I mentioned how good it smelled, how good it feels on the dry off, and it provided some great water behavior instantly. So just as a drying aid, this is actually really nice. I like it. And it provides instant hydrophobics. Okay, on that side, I'm a believer as a drying aid, but let's see how this works. If it works any better, if we just spray it on and kind of like let it sit overnight. So let's see. I think what we'll do is maybe just spray it directly here on the top half. All right, we'll put some there, and on the bottom, what we're gonna do is just spray it into the towel and wipe on. And we'll see if there's any difference that way. All right, so on the bottom, we sprayed into the towel. Okay, and on the top, we sprayed directly onto the paint, so we'll wipe that in. Flip the towel, buff. Okay, so this is nice and smooth, it's slick. The paint has a nice slick feel to it. I don't really notice a big difference between where I actually sprayed it on the paint and where I put it on the towel and wiped it on. I really like to get into door pockets with sealant, especially because when you go to grab the door and you feel that smoothness, that slickness, it just feels really good, and that kind of reminds somebody like, hey, it was worth doing. You know, it was worth the effort. It was worth paying somebody to do. You feel that slickness, you know, you kind of feel like you got your value, your money's worth. All right, guys, there you have it. The Armor Shield Lite from AvalonKing. Okay. I'm really surprised at the water behavior as used as a drying aid. It was like instant hydrophobics. Really good beating. That actually surprised me. And well, then we applied it directly on the paint. And let me put this down here because I got this, okay? And I am following instructions, okay? I got my beverage, there we go. My beverage of choice right there. So I did follow the instructions, thank you. But just feeling this on the paint, like, instantly there's a lot of slickness. It actually does feel like you used a high quality like SiO2 sealant, not necessarily a drying aid, because a lot of times drying aids, they just kind of make the towel feel slicker on the paint, but then, you know, when it's dry it just feels like it did before. It didn't really provide any extra slickness. Well, this actually does feel like there's a sealant, like a protection on the paint. It leaves a nice smooth, just like slick feel to it. So anyway, I'm excited to check out the Hydrophobics tomorrow. We're going to test that. So anyway, let's see how this works. And again, thank you, Dale at AvalonKing, for sending me this to test out. All right, guys, it is the next morning now. It is like 7 a.m., but let's check the water test. This is like, the paint feels super smooth, especially because, you know, I mean, we made sure we clayed it and everything. But now again, okay, the right side of the hood has had a chance. That's where we used it as a drying aid. This is where we just wiped it in with the towel, and then that's where we actually applied it to the paint. And off camera, I wound up actually just washing the whole thing and going over the entire car with more of the Armor Shield Lite. So I want to see, because I didn't clay the entire thing, it started getting dark. So I want to see maybe what that Hydrophobics looks like if you don't clay it. So anyway, let's get started on the drying aid side. All right, I'm quite impressed at the water behavior there. Looks really good. All right, let's check where I wiped it in. Oh, we have pretty much the same water behavior. There you go, there's the beads. And now where we applied it directly to the paint dry. And we have very similar water behavior there. So I guess it's going to come down to longevity. Let's check the fender. All right, there you go. Check the door. There you go. And now where I didn't clay, let's see this door. Very, very similar. In fact, I sprayed the windows as well. So let's check that. All right, guys, so that's the water behavior test for the AvalonKing Armor Shield Lite. Thank you to Dale from AvalonKing for sending this to me, letting me test it out. I'm a believer in this product now, at least. The beads, I see some really nice tight beads. It looks great. It's gonna be easy to dry. In fact, because I just sprayed the whole thing down in testing, but super easy to dry. And as a drying aid, I know I put a lot on there. You probably saw me put like 10 sprays on there. You know, if you're using this as a maintenance product, probably a couple sprays, like, you know, when it's wet like this, just put a couple sprays on. You could dry like the entire hood with 2 sprays. Once your towel gets some of that in it, it's gonna start spreading it around. So you're gonna use a minimal amount. Once you actually put this on the surface, you're gonna use a minimal amount going forward. So a bottle is gonna last you quite a while. I know it's like 35 bucks, and a lot of you guys are like, oh, 35 bucks, but you know, it should last you a long time, especially used as a drying aid. And you know, I mean, it seems like a pretty stout sealant so far, so time will tell how this handles, and well, I'll report back when I can. Anyway, guys, just wanna say thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.